Oh, the weather has definitely gotten hot again in Florida. Welcome back, my Florida two-wheel adventure family. How are you doing today? Hopefully, wherever you're at in the country, it's not as hot as it is already in Florida. I think today it probably hit 90, and we're May 9th, 2024. May 9. So our cold weather is behind us. Rainy season's upon us. And I've had some recent things happening in my life that have led me to making this video today. The topic of today's question is, do you ever ask yourself if it's time to stop riding? When you first hear that question, you may think, well, that's stupid. Why would I stop riding? And I gotta admit, there's been part of me throughout the years that's wondered, is there a day gonna come that I can't go ride anymore? And I promise, if you stick around to the end of this video, you'll understand why I'm asking that question today. Because there is a definitive and real reason why I asked that question. I ask it of you, the viewers, but I'm also asking it of myself. Okay, let me just get it out there. As I sit here today recording this video, I am 50 years old. I just turned 50 this past January, so 4 months ago roughly. By all accounts, unless you're 19, 20 years old, 50 is still on the younger side, especially if you're somebody that's in his 60s or 70s. You'd probably love to rewind the clock back to 50. No, seriously, what I'm getting at is, at 50, I'm still kind of young. I got many more years ahead of me to ride motorcycles or do anything else that I wish to do. Given relative health and financial ability, I should be able to live the kind of life that I want to live this point going forward. And that's not really changed. However, I've hit a hiccup. I recently went to the emergency room. I took myself there because I was having some numbness in my legs and arm on the left-hand side. My arm and leg on the left-hand side. Numbness in my left arm is not unusual. I've had what I have believed to be nerve damage from I have no idea what. And I also believe that I've got a rotator cuff injury. When I experienced numbness recently, 2 weeks ago, I guess it's probably been 3 weeks ago now, time is kind of going by fast. It was 3 weeks ago this week. I got out of my car at the end of my shift and I couldn't feel my left leg, and it caused me to practically fall down because I stood out, left leg hit the ground first, and there was no feeling there. I couldn't tell that I was touching the ground, and I almost fell. I caught myself by the door. Well, it was at that time that I realized, hold on a minute, I'm numb in my left arm too, which is a little bit worse than it usually is. And now my left leg. So I did what guys do, and I figured that's nothing. I was sitting in my car wrong. My gun belt was pushing on my hip. I lost some blood flow, whatever. I rationalized it away and said that if I just go to bed, when I wake up, everything will be fine. So I did. I went to bed, I woke up, and everything was not fine. Everything was exactly the same. So I go to the ER 2 days later, because I was, being a guy, and I was convinced that nothing was wrong, nothing serious was wrong. This too would pass, and everything would be great. People started getting in my head. Before I knew it, I had convinced myself, even though I wouldn't admit it to anybody, that I was probably having a heart attack. Although for that many days, without the actual heart attack occurring, I was starting to think that was a little bit crazy. But nonetheless, I go to the ER. During my trip to the ER, they do lots of things. And a couple of the things that they did were CT scans and MRI scans of my head and neck. And they come back and they tell me, yeah, you got a problem in your neck. A couple of your vertebrae are significantly damaged. They are C5, 6, and 6, 7. 6 and 7 is worse than 5, 6. It's got severe compression. I have bone spurs, and my spinal cord cavity is decompressed in both of those, but 6 and 7 is the worst. And they explained to me that that's why I'm feeling a numbness in my arm and leg. I've got nerve damage, and I had another pain in my jaw that they said is likely related to that or recent dental work that I had done, because I'm in the middle still of having a root canal and a crown put in. They've done the root canal. I got a temporary crown in there, and they said I may have an infection from that, which maybe causes some of my neck pain. They couldn't really tell by the tests they had done, and they referred me to my primary care doctor and dentist, and they said they were going to release me. So now I've been in the hospital at this point, I don't know, 3-4 hours. Another hour or two goes by, and the ER doctor comes back, and she's like, well, you know, I was going to release you. However, I can't release you right now. You're going to be admitted. I'm like, well, why? You know, I feel fine, you know, aside from being numb. It's like, well, you've had 2 strokes.
Yeah, that's what I said, stroke. I'm not terribly surprised by the fact that I've had 1, 2. The reason that it should not surprise me is my mother's side of the family. I have a lot of blood clot, aneurysm, stroke histories. The good news is where I had the stroke in my brain, the part of my brain that was affected by the stroke was the part that doesn't manifest itself with outward appearance problems. I don't have droopy sides of my face. My speech is a little bit off, but not to the point where with a little effort I can't correct it. The biggest part that was affected was my ability to have not control over my emotions, because that's not true. I'm a little bit shorter, like snappier with people. The other thing that they said I could expect would be a lack of attention, a diminished ability to give attention. And I've seen that already. I've found myself watching TV, talking to somebody, and I'm drifting off somewhere else. That's not terribly unlike me before stroke. It's just, I guess, going to be a little bit worse after stroke. It's a condition that can be treated, can be prevented. Blood thinners and things like that. Those are options. Monitoring it, going in for tests. Those are all options, and those are things that I'm going to do because being 50 years old, I don't care to be kicking the bucket anytime too soon. So that is what it is. The neck thing, that's a different problem altogether. There are people out there that don't know what a stroke is. I really didn't know what a stroke was. I always thought that a stroke was in some way heart-related. I guess at times throughout my life, I've known better. But when I don't think about it, I just think, stroke, oh yeah, something to do with your heart. Well, it's not. It's really not at all. It's blood flow to your brain. And the 2 that I've had were evident because there was parts in my certain part of my brain where both of these strokes occurred that showed there had been a deprivation of blood flow, oxygen. And that's how they could tell I had a stroke. This neck problem that I have, these vertebrae that I'm going to explain about in the video, those symptoms and my stroke symptoms, they overlap. If one was diagnosed before the other, you wouldn't necessarily know the other existed unless you're looking for something. So that was that until the ER doctor got a look at the rest of the exams they did, including the MRI of my brain. And, oh, wait a minute, hold on a minute, pump the brakes, put a pin in that. We've got a little problem here we got to address. So that's where we're at with that. So let's cut back to the video, and I hope you stay with me the rest of the way. If you would, I'm going to say this later, but comment below. Tell me if you've got any experience with this, if you have thoughts, opinions on it. Keep riding, don't keep riding, wait to see what the doctors say. Fortunately, right now, everything that's happened to me is manageable. So, nothing more to say.
My first reaction when she comes in and tells me that is, what? I didn't want to hear that. And knowing my family history, I'm not surprised to hear it. I'm just a little bit shocked to hear it because after my mother passed a few years ago from the aneurysm, I came back home here to Florida. She died in Pennsylvania where she lived. I came back home to Florida and I had an MRI done at that time to see if I had any situations that I needed to be concerned about. And I was told no at that time. Now that was back in 2021, I think. I'd have to go verify my records. But nonetheless, bottom line, the 2 strokes is a concern. Now, having said that, I don't know if I've mentioned that my ability to function with these strokes, I don't feel is that limited. What they've told me about it, the part of the brain where it occurred, I think it was my right thalamus, if I'm saying that correctly. My speech, my ability to speak, my ability to speak has always been a little bit iffy anyway. All right, the camera shut off because it got too hot. So where I think I left off was I was telling you that I don't think that I have suffered much of an inability to ride, not from having a stroke. I think where my inability to do anything is coming from is the neck damage. Now, that is a bit more concerning to me actually than the stroke, because while people usually get a stroke, many people have strokes and fully recover from them. And I guess there are many people like me who have a stroke and don't even know they had one. Now, the one I had the one a couple weeks ago, there were indicators. I should have been aware that night that something was going on. The night that my leg was asleep when I got out of the car, that night I experienced an intense, sudden onset of a headache. So much so I was working, I had to stop, close my computer, sit back, close my eyes, clench my head. It was almost like, I don't know how to describe it. I've never really had a pain like it before. And I had to chug a handful of ibuprofen. I had 4 or 5 ibuprofen in my car. And I took them, and that seemed to subdue it enough for me to finish out my shift, at least. And I didn't give it too much thought until later when they were asking me questions like that. Did anything like this happen? I'm like, oh, yes, it did. But the neck thing's been going on for a couple, 2-3 years. And that's been building and getting worse. And I've not been doing anything to help it. And now I think it's at a point where I go back to my neck specialist tomorrow to see if I'm going to need surgery or if we can do something like cortisone shots or something to keep everything under control so I can finish out my last year. Now, mind you, I've only got 1 year left of my job to hit my 25-year mark and I can retire. That'll put me at 51 years old. I've planned, secretly in my head, I've said, no, I'm not going to do any extra time. But I've kind of thought that if I'm in good shape at the time that I hit 25 years, I'll do a little extra time and that'll give me a little extra money. But given my situation, with the health scare, and not because I'm afraid that it's going to reoccur. Now that I'm aware of it, the doctor's got me on meds for it. I'm making whatever changes I need to make to do the best that I can to prevent it from happening again. I don't feel like that's a constraint. However, next surgery could be. So, but do I keep riding? Now that's the question. And I think I've finally circled back to it now. Thank you if you're still here since the beginning. But do I keep riding? Is there going to come a time where I've got to stop riding this bike? Am I putting myself at risk? What do you guys think about this? Is this something that you ever ask yourselves? I'm asking myself this now. I don't know. I don't feel like I have to stop. I'm just trying to think of maybe I need to be more aware of the fact that I'm getting old. I'm not old, but I'm getting older. I've got some health problems. Is it worth doing something so severe to my neck? And really, my neck's not the problem, the spinal cord is. Is it worth doing something to that, which results in paralysis, partial paralysis? I don't think so. I have a lot of fun riding, but not that much fun. So do I get rid of the bikes I got and maybe find a bike that's lighter and easier to ride on the road and stay on that all the time? I don't know. I don't know the answer to these questions, but I thought I'd share this with you guys. Let you know what's going on with me and just see if there's any input, any advice. If you guys have been through this kind of thing before, what would you do about it? Or if you're a keyboard warrior and you know everything, tell me what I did wrong. Tell me what I should do going forward. I'd love to hear that stuff. And otherwise, I don't know. I'll check back in with you. I'll let you know how things are going. I'll really know more tomorrow when I go to the doctor. So that's all I got for today. Everybody, take care. Thanks for watching. If you stay with me till the end, I appreciate it. And you all ride safe and be happy. Peace out.